guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a topic video on top 10 Young Justice episodes, and I think this is perfect since the series is over, so it's overall top 10 episodes. So let's start. And also guys, if you have any recommendations for topic videos, just tell me in comments below. If I answer them, that means in a couple of weeks it'll either be on DarkAvengerINC or Comic Uno, because I double dose my topic videos. Usually for Comic Uno I have them every Thursday with my comic book reviews, and for DarkAvengerINC I have them every Sunday, so definitely go check that out and recommend topic videos if you have any. So let's start the countdown. I will have clips with each episode I mention. So what is number 10 on my list, which is Insecurity, 1x23, and that, or, you know, season 1, episode 23, and that's when Artemis and Sportsmaster, they have a big confrontation with Red Arrow, and it's pretty much more of a Sportsmaster, Artemis, and Red Arrow episode, because Artemis and Red Arrow, they're teaming up. Red Arrow's finally officially on the Young Justice team, and Artemis is totally upset with this, because she's like, why do we need another Archer? I'm an Archer. Do we really need Red Arrow? And they've had a kind of love-hate relationship with each other throughout the whole season. And then we see that Red Arrow's becoming very suspicious over Artemis, like, oh, how are you related to Sportsmaster? And then he has a relationship with Cheshire. So it's a very interesting interaction between most of those characters. And even Kid Flash is like, hey, you know, I love you too, Artemis. And this is before they're in a relationship. He's like, hey, I like you too, Artemis, but it's cool that Red Arrow's here. You know, we can have both. So he's kind of like the moderator. But then we find out that Artemis lied about Sportsmaster when they're trying to capture Sportsmaster. And like Kid Flash is like, I want to trust you, but you're not making me trust you. So character-wise, it's just a very good episode. Now, I'm a big Artemis fan, so a lot of the Artemis episodes are on my list because I just really liked her character. Alright, number 9 is Unusual Suspects, which is the second to last episode for the season, which is season 1, episode 25. And this is when we find out Roy is the mole. And I should say, if you haven't watched Young Justice, there's a lot of spoilers. So Roy is the mole of the series, and we find, it's like, did we really expect Roy to be the mole? For me, I did not expect it, so when I found out, I'm like, oh. And then I don't know if we found out about the clone in that. I think we found out the clone in the next episode after that, and it's just a lot of craziness that was revealed, like stuff that we were waiting for. We were waiting, who is the mole? A lot of people were like Miss Martian, Superboy, or Artemis, because they're the most suspicious character, and then they played on that in this episode, because we finally see them tell the truth. Miss Martian says, hey, I'm a white Martian. Superboy's, hey, I've been working with Lex Luthor because he technically has half my DNA. And then Artemis is like, my parents are supervillains. So I love the revealing of the truth also in this episode. So just a combination of great things in this episode. So love this one. It was a big surprise. So that's number 9 on my list. Alright, number 8 is Endgame, and this is the series finale of the series. So that's season 2, episode 20, final episode. I really enjoyed this one, even though it was kind of a bittersweet ending, because we get to see a very cool ending. You know, the old group still becoming the Young Justice team that we want them to be. Artemis still being on the team, and Nightwing taking a little break because of the whole Kid Flash thing. You know, it was a good episode. It was a very good end of a climax with the whole invasion portion of this, and then the whole villains, I can't even think of their name right now, but the whole villain story arc with Black Manta and Vic Savage, that all comes to an end and comes to a head through that episode and the episode previously before that. So I just really enjoyed it. I think what made me enjoy it the most was that Kid Flash ending, because you didn't really expect Kid Flash to die or not die, who knows. I think we all expect that he's not really dead. If they did continue season 3, I have a feeling it would have been more of Dick trying to discover what happened to Kid Flash. That's kind of why he quit, it seemed like. So it's just a really good ending, you know, again, a bittersweet ending, because you knew that there could have been more story, but also it was kind of a satisfying ending at the same time. So that was number 8 on my list. Alright, number 7 is the episode Beneath, season 2, episode 5, and this is the girl power episode. This is where we get to see Miss Martian, Wonder Girl, Bumblebee, they all work together. I remember when this episode came out, I don't know if I saw it on time, but I saw it like on Twitter, and everyone was like, oh, cool girl power episode, and I feel we didn't really get to see that enough in Young Justice, like a whole girl power episode. It was just really cool to learn more about those new characters, because we were still in the mix of things, us being angry at, at the Young Justice, not me, the Young Justice creators, but at the show a little, because they had that 5-year gap. We were still angry about that. And then after that episode, I'm like, alright, we finally learned about these characters that you thought were going to be painted in the background. Wonder Girl, Bumblebee. And I feel, you know, as a show, adding so many new characters, we learned enough about them still. And, you know, could we had more about Wonder Girl and all these characters? Yeah, but I think episodes like this made us learn more about them. And, you know, characters that could have been totally painted in the background. So I just had a lot of fun with that one, and yeah, that's number 7 on my list. So Beneath, Season 2, Episode 5. Alright, number 6 is Failsafe, Season 1, Episode 16. And this is when the Justice League die, and when Artemis dies, I think another character dies also, but it's all just a test. And they knew that when they went in, they all get psychically linked or whatever, and they all fall asleep, and they all knew it was gonna be a test, but it felt so real after that Kid Flash thought Artemis died. Robin thought he was leader, and he gave up. He didn't really know what to really do. Superboy saw all these people dying, all his friends dying, and he didn't care. And then in the episode after, we learn a little bit more of that aftermath of that. But it was just it felt to us even, because we didn't know that this was fake. It's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. How did he die? How did they die? So it felt like something's going on, but what really is going on? It didn't feel like one of those things like, oh, it was all a dream, we tricked you. It felt that had meaning. It really did have meaning to learn more about the characters than anything in that episode. So great episode, something that I always do remember when I think of Young Justice. So Failsafe, Season 1, Episode 16. Alright, number 5 is The Fix. Season 2, Episode 13, and this is when they fix Alkalad's mind, when Miss Martian thought that Alkalad killed Artemis in Season 2. So she did her little thing that, in Season 2, that Superboy had a problem with making people literally not have a mind anymore. So, we find out in this episode, Miss Martian's like, oh no, Alkalad's good? Crap, what am I going to do? I actually have to fix his mind. And something that I really loved about this episode was that they literally go into Alkalad's mind. And I thought the art for that was just amazing. The idea for that was amazing. And then you have that tension in the back of your mind. It's like, are they going to figure out that Miss Martian knows? Are they going to figure out that Artemis and Alkalad in general are moles? So it's like that tension in the background and having that amazingness of going to Alkalad's mind and honestly trying to fix it. So I really enjoyed that episode, and I knew I had to put it on my list when I was making this. I'm like, I had to put that Aqualad episode in, because even though I'm not a big Aqualad fan, I just really enjoyed that one. I just thought, again, that tension and then also that detail of his mind was great. Alright, number 4 is Disordered, which is actually the episode after Failsafe, Season 1, Episode 17. And all I have to say is Black Canary therapy time. I think that's the one thing I always remember with this episode. And really what made this episode great was that aftermath of Failsafe. When we find out, it's like, oh, why did you react these ways? And I still think of that Robin speech as like, I don't want to be Batman anymore. Just all their speeches, and Artemis saying, I don't want to tell the truth. Superboy saying, I know I'm a clone, am I kind of a real person? Miss Martian's thing is like, oh, I'm a white Martian, like her being so scared of that. And then, Kid Flash not really want to admit his feelings to Artemis, and like why he cared so much when Artemis died, and that's just a connection of a great relationship with Artemis and Kid Flash. So just digging into those characters, and then Aqualad not being able to be the leader in that one. Just digging into those characters, especially with that therapy session, and getting to see a little bit more of the Justice League. I think Black Canary is just a very interesting character in the Young Justice series, because she's a mentor that could also be a therapist, and shown in this series a lot, actually. And we don't really get to see Black Canary that often in the cartoons anymore, and in, comics, she's kind of like a different character, not really related to the Green Arrow stuff, so it's kind of cool to see that in Young Justice. So therapy time, definitely really enjoyed the aftermath of that. So that's Disordered Season 1, Episode 17, and that's my number 4 pick. Number 3, and that's Depths. Season 2, Episode 7. Now, I remember I went to Hershey that weekend, so I didn't end up doing a review. I was like, I'm not going to do a review or whatever, and I came back like Monday or whatever, and I was like, I won't do a review on that. And I'm like, I have to do a review on this, because it was an amazing episode. We get to see, that was the episode where Artemis fakes her death. and they all plan in, like, and then Artemis and Kid Flash are going back into the action. You know, they retire. They, you know, throughout the whole season, we didn't expect them to come back into action, and they both do. And you're like, oh, cool, you know, Artemis is back, and then she dies, and you're like, this can't happen, and it doesn't happen. And you kind of know it wouldn't happen, because you see it in the first 2 minutes. You see Artemis dies, but how? And then they go back and you find out exactly what did happen. I kind of like episodes like that, where you find out that main event and they're like, oh, how did this happen? We're going to tell you. And I think that was like the best example of that type of storytelling and how to do it right. Because some TV shows and comics, they do it and it just doesn't work out. But I think that was like one of the best examples I ever seen of a story like that, where you see the big event and then go backtrack to it. So great episode, and especially the whole secret keeping of Artemis's death and her going undercover, because you didn't really expect it. So that was number 3. I just remember it and I loved it. I shouted. I was like, oh no, what's going on? So that was just an emotionally breaking episode. Alright, number 2 is... actually, number 2 is Homefront, which is Season 1, Episode 12, because I have it reversed on my list. But yeah, number 2 is Homefront, Season 1, Episode 12, and that's when we find out Artemis's origins, and we get to see the 2 non-powers team up to try to save the superpowers. And I think that was just a really interesting episode, because we didn't know much about Artemis at all. You know, she was the character's like, is she a mole? Like, what is she hiding? And we see some references of actually the comic book. I remember they had the whole Wonderland poster in the comic, and they brought it to the episodes also. And you find out exactly who Artemis is, you know, but also have these present times where we get to see Robin and Artemis try to save the day, you know, the 2 people that you wouldn't expect to save the day with these superpowered heroes on their team. So I just really enjoyed this one, and again, just showing that you don't need superpowers to be a hero and to save your friends. And then, of course, finding out Artemis's origins, because again, that's a character we didn't really know much about, and a lot of the characters we thought we knew a lot about, but we didn't know a lot about towards the end of the season. I think that's why Season 1 did so well, because we had those elements of mysteries, but you knew they were going to be revealed, you just didn't know when. They had a time where they wanted to reveal, and I think they had a perfect pace with that. Alright, number 1 is actually an episode I always recommend to people, and I try telling them, alright, this is what the show is about, now watch this episode. And that's actually Image, Season 1, Episode 21, and that's when we find out Miss Martian's a white Martian. And I just feel that's such a powerful episode. Even though I'm not like a humongous Miss Martian fan, I like her character, but like she's obviously Artemis, I'm more of a fan of Artemis than Miss Martian. But I just thought this was a very powerful episode, because the first portion of the episode is like, oh cool, we have a reference of Beast Boy, and it seems like a normal episode. And then we have that other half of the episode where we're like, oh shit, Miss Martian's a white Martian, and her not wanting to tell her friends at all, and you see that she'll do anything not to tell her friends about it, because she doesn't want them to think anything bad about her. So I just thought the way they crafted the episode of making the 2 parts so different, and then seeing like, oh, Miss Martian created really the basis of her personality from this TV show, Hello Megan. You know, something that was just such a kind of minor joke is like, oh, Hello Megan, really became a very powerful portion of this character. So honestly, just for a TV show, I just thought this was one of my favorite episodes of this series, and honestly one of my favorite episodes for television. Just because this is an episode of a show that was like, look at this. This is a cartoon. Look what they're doing here. And they just really broke down this character very well. So that's my favorite episode, was Image, Season 1, Episode 21. But tell me in the comments below, what are your favorite episodes of Young Justice? I know everyone misses it. I definitely miss it too. Hopefully we'll see stories in the future with it one day. But those are my top 10 episodes. Again, tell me in the comments below, do you agree with me? If you do, why do you like those episodes also? And if you don't, tell me what episodes you like. So tell me in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll have another topic video next Thursday with my comic book reviews, and DarkAvengerINC. I'll have them on Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the Rant Situations, and don't forget to like my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.